Come on in, family. Yeah, my apologies, man. I had some issues with that first link, so hopefully everybody's able to come in on this one. So I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes and make sure they can come in. Hey, Sister Tracy, come on in, family. My apologies. Sorry about that. It's good to see you out there. Come on in, come on in. Let's give a few other people time to get in. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, oh, great. And you can see me as well? Awesome. All right. Is there any way you could copy and paste this link into the other one, into the other room that wasn't working? Thank you. Hey, Brother King. All right, everybody's coming in now. Sorry about that, family. Apologies. Let me hit this one over there. There it is, right there. Yeah, so I had some difficulties for some reason. I did it, Tracy. I scheduled this thing, but then I couldn't go live. It's crazy how that happened. But anyway, it's good to see everybody coming in now. Brother Ken, it's been a while. Thank you for showing up. I see Albert, Tracy. Let's see if I can get Michael over here. We got Michael and Ella. I'm not sure if Ella's still there or not. Anyway, we're going to get started here. Sister Pam, she says no sound. We'll see what happens. We're going to get started here in just a second. And thank you all for being here. We're going to be talking about Sifu Ron's unpublished book. So not exactly just talking about it, but I'm going to actually be reading some stuff from the book. And the book was unpublished, and with that being said, it's not made available to the public at this time. Notice I said at this time, because I'm actually working on a way where I can get this thing published. The book was written back in the 70s. I think it was 1971. So 2 years before I was even born, he wrote this book. So, but the book is simply a gem, and I just got my hands on it. And the person that gave it to me, they were very trusting to let it out of their hands. And I only had it for a small segment of time. And what I did was, I went old school, family. I'm like, with my camera, taking pictures of the pages, because this book is so fragile. Because I said 1971, so that will make the book 53 years old. And I didn't want it to fall apart. So we're looking for professional people, a professional company to rebound the book. And once that's done, it'll be available. Now, I'm going to tell you what I decided to do. For those of you who have actually showed up today, I'm going to send you the copies of the pages that we go over today. And it's very bootleg, family. I'm telling you, it's straight bootleg because I used my camera and took pictures of it. But it's still legible at the same time. And anyone that studies Tai Chi can benefit from this information. Not just people who studies Temple Tai Chi, but for those of us who do study Temple Tai Chi, whether it's with me or another Temple Tai Chi teacher, you get the opportunity to kind of look into Sifu Ron's mind. So bear in mind here that Sifu Ron left America back in the 70s and went into Taiwan and lived in the temple, right? And while living in the temple, the head monk or the abbot of the temple, his name was Fasu. Fasu had Sifu Ron in alignment to take over the temple whenever Fasu was to pass. So, long story short, that never actually happened because the local townspeople who supported the temple, they weren't in favor with having an American man or woman or anybody come and be the leader of their temple. So, I mean, what is it called? I don't know if you want to call it racism or whatever it is, but they just wasn't going for it. So the temple was there, bits and pieces of it still there in Taiwan. It's in ruins, family. It's in shambles and it's non-accessible. The temple gates are still there, and we're actually planning to make another voyage back over there because when Sifu Ron passed 11 years ago, his ashes were taken back over to the temple, and we want to go back over and pay respects to Sifu Ron. So with that being said, I think we should go ahead and jump into it. Thank you everybody for being here. Sister Tracy, thank you for helping me out. And let's dive into it. Now, as I said, I'm reading this from a digital copy that I made. And also, I like to make jokes with myself about myself. You know, I'm only using one eye to read with. So bear with me, all right? Don't be so hard on seafood. So the very first page of this book says, dedicated to Master Wei-San Liao for all the true Tai Chi abilities and meditation that you have given to me. So right out of the gate, Sifu Ron gives credit to his teacher, who is still alive. And if you don't know who Master Wei-San Liao is, you should check him out. Check out his page and see who he is. And then you can also begin to understand more and more about the way that I teach. All right, because that's the foundations of our Tai Chi. So let me go on to the next page here. And it's pretty funny, family. Sifu never even put numbers on the pages of the book, you know, so it's pretty funny. So here it is. The first chapter talks about theory of Tai Chi. He says, when speaking of the theory and principles of Tai Chi, we come upon the word Chi. Let me build on that, the word Chi, because, you know, I find it odd that anybody in the Tai Chi community or Qigong community, well, I guess, well, how can you study Qigong without believing in Chi. That makes sense to you? Now, I can understand if you don't know what Chi is, but according to my teachings, if you're not working with Chi, the life force energy, you can't be doing any Tai Chi. You're just doing what Master Liao will call Tai Chi-like exercise. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's on one level, one plane. That's on a physical plane. So we're talking mind, body, and spirit. Now bear in mind, Tai Chi is a holistic art form and is known for being able to help us develop our body to open up these acupressure points, pathways, meridians. All of that's Chi work, family. So you may see it written as CHI, or sometimes people spell it as QI. Don't get caught up in all the, I say, distractions and the arguments about the way that things are done, because bear in mind that there really isn't a direct translation from Chinese into English or any other language. So some of the essence of the words may be a little bit misconstrued or not quite right? So I like to keep it very simple when I think of Chi. And do me a favor, family, type something in the comments in regards to what is Chi, so other people can read it, so they can see the various points of views. And we're not here to say, you're wrong, you're not right. We don't have time for that, all right? For me, Chi, very simply put, when it comes to the practice that we're practicing, it's the air itself. It's inside of the air. It's inside of our food. It's just what Sister Pam says, life force energy. Life force energy is everything and every non-thing. You got that one? Every non-thing? Yeah. The material that this phone is made out of, that pebble or that rock or that stone is on the ground, it's all energy. It's all life force energy in some way or another. Now, the Chi that I'm talking about is very, I would say that it's very impermanent. So it's not so solid, right? Because I said the air. It's like the air. It's like the flow. So let's move on. So he goes on to say, family, hold on with me. It is difficult to define. I just talked about that. We may have various points of views on what it is. Some of it's cultural, because we don't have a direct cultural translation, right? So first and foremost, it's difficult to define. Here it is. Ken says, everything is made of atoms, and that equals energy. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So don't get blown away by different words, family. Don't let these different words keep you from grasping the true essence of what things truly are. When it really comes down to it, I say it's about the feeling more than anything. So Tai Chi is a feeling art, family. Let me read a little further. He says, it is as difficult to define in Western terms as it is for a person living in a new culture for a short period of time to adequately describe and feel that new culture. That makes sense. So if you move into a new culture, you really don't get the culture yet. It's kind of hard to explain it. You get what he's saying? He says in terms of the culture, feelings and the subtleties. So you don't quite get it yet, so you can't put it in words. However, Chi can simply mean air, as in respiration, which is to breathe. But in true Tai Chi, it should mean much more. It should mean much more, family. He says, he gives a quote here from W.T. Chan, and I'm not sure who that is. And this is my first time reading this, family. I didn't want to read it before we got together. I want it to be new to me, like it's new to you. He says, W.T. Chan has observed that the chi denotes the psychophysiological power associated with blood and breath. So circulation, right? Or here's another one, intrinsic energy. The mind and intrinsic energy. So he puts mind, and then in quotation, he puts I, meaning the yi. We talk about the yi leading the chi. He says intrinsic energy, he puts in quotes, chi, are complementary basis of Tai Chi. Without it, it would become merely a physiological exercise. And I think I just mentioned that. So oftentimes, I see people doing Tai Chi, especially Tai Chi push hands. And I'll be straight up, they just simply going the wrong way. It becomes a brute force type of thing where we're using way too much force because of the Western mindset. So here it is, we have Western mind and Eastern philosophy. Whew, boy, that's a big one. Western mind and Eastern philosophy. I've been growing up my whole life with a Western mind. So now being exposed to the Eastern philosophy, it's got me on quite a trip, family. I'll be straight up honest with you. And I've been practicing these arts for nearly 30 years now. So still learning the culture. He says, how should a beginner student, now this is important. I consider myself a beginner as well. How should a beginner student of Tai Chi approach his training? He says, she should relax completely. Now, here it is once again. Oftentimes, when we talk about this word, relax, people don't quite understand what we mean by relax. And I do my best to give an example. I say when we're relaxed, first of all, we do our best to eliminate any rigid muscles or muscle contractions. And we also do our best not to become what I describe it as being a limp noodle. I call it a limp noodle because sometimes I meet Tai Chi people, especially in push hands. You know I love push hands, right, family? I talk about it a lot. But people are either too rigid or they're not there. They're not there at all. Physically, they're a limp noodle. It's like a wet piece of spaghetti noodle. You have to have some structure, but not excessive structure. So I like to give the analogy of a leaf on a tree, right? The leaf is not putting forth any extra effort to be a leaf. It's just a damn leaf, right? We want to do the same thing. We just want to be who we are without all the extra. It's just way too much. It takes us out of Tai Chi. You know what? The Western mind, we think that we have to do. No, we're not human doings. We're human beings. We just have to be who we are. And once we start being who we are, man, we're going to start tapping into some things that we didn't even know was available to us, family. I'm talking about tapping into the ability to heal ourselves and also to help heal others. And I'm not just talking out of my butt, out of my ear, out of the side of my neck. I'm talking from true experience, because one thing that I've become over the years probably always was, because I can remember being taught certain things from my parents when I was young, about laying hands, right? I didn't know what I was doing as a kid, but as an adult, I've seen the power of laying hands on people, on animals, and on myself with very high, obvious results. I'm gonna move on. I posted a video one time. Lucky enough that someone was there to catch me laying hands on my dad. My dad was almost gone at the time. I started laying hands. I opened myself up to the energy of the universe, following the protocol, getting rid of the ego to the best of my ability, anything that would block me. And my dad came right back, right on camera, man. It blew everybody else's mind, but I have faith in the abilities. Also did the same thing to my mom when my mom was in a coma for a month. I went and visited her, had an energy session with my mom. My mom came out of that coma. I wrote a story about that one too. And I never told anybody about it until I told Soul Group. I think Soul Group should remember that. Sister Pam, you probably remember that story when my mom was in the hospital years ago. She's passed now. But anyway, how should a beginner begin? He says, completely relax. The aim is to throw every bone and muscle of the body wide open. So we want to open our body. We want to open up our energy system. Everything is open. A lot of people are closed. Contraction is closing. We want to open the body so the energy can flow. He says, the body wide open so the chi may travel unobstructedly. Once this is done, the chest should be further relaxed. And then the chi is able to sink down to lower Dantian. So now he's walking us through these different steps. All right? Now, family, bear in mind, this is just getting into the theory of the chi and how the chi flows, right? So it's like warming us up, taking us into his experience that he had while he was inside of the temple at the 18 Lohan. He goes on and says, after some time of practicing, talking about practicing the Tai Chi, sinking the energy down, relaxing the mind, relaxing the body, he says the Chi will begin to be felt. Remember I said it was a feeling practice? It's about feeling. He says, and everybody may feel something different, family. And in the beginning, you may not feel anything at all. That's perfectly okay. Don't chase it. Don't go looking for it. Just allow it to happen. He says, over time, the chi will begin to accumulate and integrate and move into lower dantian, a point 3 finger spaces below the navel. Are you familiar with the lower dantian, family? I know some people here aren't really Tai Chi practitioners and they're just getting into Tai Chi. Do you know where your lower dantian is? And if someone would, for me, type into the comments, what is the lower dantian and why is it important to you? So I'm also going to tell you what it is according to me. So I like to compare the lower dantian. I like to say it's very similar to what the yogis would call a chakra, or an energy field, an energy container, right? So the lower dantian is our primary energy container. And according to my teachings, coming from Master Liao, and what makes sense to me as he explained it, the lower dantian is where our original, I put emphasis on that word, original life force energy entered our body. Think about this, family. Our umbilical cord was connected to our mom, right? Via the placenta, right? That's where that energy came into our body. That original energy. So, along with the arrival of that energy is a feeling of that energy coming into our body. Sifu says, with enough conscious focus on our lower dantian, we begin to wake that feeling back up again. We begin to wake that feeling back up again, working on our sensitivity. Now, when we wake up that feeling, and there's different methods to do it, and I teach it and share it all the time in the Patreon, right, family? So we go in there and we focus on that lower dantian. We activate that energy center to a higher degree. Remember, where the yi goes, yi is intent, the focus. The energy flows. So we start off by putting our mind on that lower dantian, that energy center, that I say chakra-like center, right? And that energy begins to accumulate. It begins to get massive, more and more. Now, there are ways that we lose that energy as well. Several ways. I'm not going to get into that, but there's several ways. And I'll just say one. All of the openings on our body, and you can use your imagination, all of the openings on our body can leak chi. Our eyes, orifice like our mouth, our nose, our ears, anal gland, the anus, also our private organs, our sexual organs. All of those areas can leak chi, leak energy. And there's ways that we can help our body not leak that energy. We have to be mindful in regards to what we pay attention to. What are we looking at? What are we listening to? What are we putting into our mouths? What are we smelling? And use your imagination on the other ones. We have to learn to retain our energy to some degree and not waste our energy. Not saying that we shouldn't use it, but we shouldn't waste it. Excessive use of our energy, we begin to weaken and deplete our energy. And the more that we put out, the harder our body has to work to rejuvenate or to replenish what we once had. That makes sense to me. It's very simple. If you throw it away, how are you going to get it back? The body works harder now trying to get it back, and that takes energy. So it's like you're working in reverse, right? We're not rejuvenating anything. We want to regenerate and rejuvenate, reverse the time clock. Hey, I know I don't look 52. I know I don't look 52. Anyway, Pam says the main source for energy storage. She's talking about that lower dantian. Danielle, how does one utilize chi if one can feel and see it? Well, there's many ways to utilize it. It depends. I think I just gave an analogy or a true example in regards to you can use your chi to heal yourself. You can use your chi to heal others. If you want to know more about that, let's talk about it at some point. I'm more than happy to talk about it. It's nothing mysterious or mystical or magical. It is magic. Life is magic. But basically, to me, it's tapping back into the magic of who we are. As human beings, we're super powerful, but we've been led away from that. So we have to reverse and come back in tune, back into ourselves. Start focusing on lower dantian. Let me get back into this, family. Thank you guys for sharing that. So right here, he says, after a time, I'm rereading the last sentence. After some time, the chi will be felt accumulating in the lower dantian. Next sentence, he says, a tornado. So he's giving an example here. He says, a tornado is but a massed movement of air and a tidal wave. So this is his description of that water. He says, as a whiff, nothing is more pliable than the air. So he's showing how the air can be so powerful, although it can be so elusive and evasive and really not there, like trying to touch a cloud, right? That tornado is very powerful. But what makes up the tornado may not seem to be so powerful. He says Lao Tzu is a philosopher, family. You should learn about his writings. Will somebody type Lao Tzu in there so somebody can look it up? Lao Tzu, Laotsu. And I've heard people pronounce it different ways, so please forgive my southern drawl. He says Lao Tzu, upon those writings, the philosophy of Tai Chi is based upon the deep aspect of Qi. Here's a quote he gave from Lao Tzu. He says, "This is called the perception of the nature of things. Soft and weak overcomes hard and strong." We talk about that a lot in Tai Chi. And I was talking to a student the other day who's also a teacher, and I'm not saying any names because I don't put anybody out there, but he was talking about his frustrations in regards to push hands. And when he was, relying upon the principles of investing in, we call it investing in loss. People don't understand that. They think it means giving up, but it doesn't. He was saying that he keeps getting toppled over and he has to use force to win. And I told him he's going the wrong way. You'll never learn how to use your internal skills by depending on brute force. I should repeat that. You'll never develop internal skills by depending on brute force. Thank you, Ella. Lao Tzu. He says the softest thing, this is continuing on Lao Tzu's quote, the softest thing in the universe overcomes the hardest thing in the universe. Think about water, for example, family. You ever thought about that? A trickle of water, a drop of water, just dropping over time onto something hard like a stone. What happens to that stone? What happens to that stone? Over time, that stone simply begins to wear away, right? That stone begins to wear away. So there's an example of how the soft overcomes the hard. We're going to go over this last little bit of theory here. It's pretty short, and we're going to conclude. And as promised, I'm going to send you a copy of this because I kind of moved around in it, not in a very flowing fashion, but I want it to be more organic, right? More of a discussion as opposed to me sitting here reading something to you line by line, verbatim. That'd be pretty damn boring, I would say. So here, theory continued. He says, under heaven, nothing is more soft and yielding than water. There he is, talking about the water. He says, yet, for attacking the solid and strong, nothing is better. It has no equal. The weak can overcome the strong. He says, the subtle or supple can overcome the stiff. So here we are, family. Think about this analogy for my Floridians. My Floridians, the palm trees. Those palm trees, man, they've been through hurricane after hurricane. They can bend and move with the wind, right? Sometime one may get toppled over. They have a very shallow root system. Those palm trees, root system, not very big. Now, everything is relative. Compare that root system on that palm tree to the root system on these trees here in South Carolina known as an oak tree. Now, an oak tree, they're pretty damn big. They grow really, really slow, another Tai Chi principle, and the root system is actually larger than what you see above, like the canopy of the tree. The root system is bigger than the canopy. Now bear this in mind. That oak tree, oh no, it ain't doing this, family. It ain't swaying in the wind. it's going to snap and break. It's going to snap and break. And a lot of time, that's what happened to a lot of our fellow martial art Tai Chi people. They snap and break. You know why? Because they get away from Tai Chi principle and they start using all of that dead force, too much brute force. We got to find that balance, family. We got to find that balance. He says mass integration makes difference. Later, we're going to wrap it up right after this. He says later, the student will be able to direct the chi instantaneously. Don't have to be so stiff. You use the mind to lead the chi and things begin to happen. He says to direct the chi instantaneously in any part of his body by means of the mind. Exercise your spine so that the chi can travel this avenue to the top of your head. I'm going to stop right there and going to piggyback off of what he just said, family. So he talked about the chi flow, right? And we talked about lower dantian. Yeah, this would be a good place to wrap it up. So you see this Tai Chi sign back here? I like to think of this, forget the orientation of it, it doesn't matter. Forget which one's on top, which one's on bottom. I like to think of this as being the human body, right? So in this example, this point right here, if we were to orientate that up, that being the crown point, the very tip of the crown point, if we were to turn that Tai Chi sign, and then this point being the tip of the tailbone, right? Right here, the very, very tip of the tailbone. So from here to here, this vertical line, remember I said orientated vertically, that will be what we call the Tai Chi pole, the vertical axis. Going from Bai Wei, which is a point on top, down to Hu Yin, which is a point on bottom. Now, the round parts, right, that will be the front of the body or the back of the body. So the front of the body, the ventral aspect, not the dorsal, this front part has a line going down. That's the conception vessel. Conceive. I think of conceiving as receiving. Just things I use to help me remember, right? So we have dantians, but we also have these meridians or channels, energy channels. The one on the back side of the body, going from the very bottom part, Hu Yin, going up to the top, and it ends, I think, right about in here, is called the Du Meridian, also known as the governing vessel. You get what I'm saying? The governing vessel. So these vessels, these primary vessels, they're all connected. There's so many meridians and pathways in the body, family. I say innumerable. Some people put a number on it. I don't know how they figured the number, right? But the primary energy center, the dantian, is connected to these via different meridian lines. And then we can get that energy to flow out from that lower dantian. There's other ones as well. Third eye, heart chakra. They're on the back side of the body, the dorsal side. There's so many, family. But anyway, I hope that gives you an idea of how the chi circulates and where it's stored, and these primary channels of flowing the energy in the body. And Sister Pam says, I love to reach that point. Which point are you talking about? If you got any questions in regards to anything I mentioned or not mentioned, go ahead and shoot it out there before we wrap up. So also, family, the plan is that we'll do this live session every Sunday until we get through the entire book. Every Sunday, 1 hour, 2 o'clock, Eastern Standard Time. And of course, if it's live, it's going to be recorded. But I would rather you be here so we can get some dialogue going back. We can talk. Because when we're able to talk, not only am I learning from our exchange, everybody in the group's learning. So it becomes more of a community, right? We're not so isolated. We got this time now where it's like everybody is just so isolated. It's hyper isolation. We need more community. That's why I started this. I started this so we can have more community. We can learn more. Brother Ken, thank you for everything that you give. You're a fountain of knowledge. I look forward to you being here and spitting out more and more of your practice with us. So, Brother Ken, I've been known for quite a while. He's a Tai Chi practitioner, also very deep into Qigong. And I know he definitely knows some Chinese medicine. He's been studying with Dr. Love for a while down in South Florida. We got Sister Pam here from Forever Tai Chi. She's a long-term Tai Chi practitioner, and I'm sure she has also quite a bit of knowledge in regards to Qigong and other sets as well. Get to know some of these people, family. Sister Pam also studies Tai Chi with me, has been for a while. Who else is in here today? Ella's here. Ella studies with brother Fred, Sifu Fred, down in South Florida. And actually, Ella has a podcast that I'll be on. I think we're scheduled to shoot it. I have it marked on the calendar. That'll be coming out soon. So we're building community, family. We're building community. And Brother Fred studies Tai Chi with me. Daniel, how does one utilize Chi? Okay, we talked about that. We talked about that. I hope that made sense to you, Daniel, how you can utilize Chi. But man, like we say in Tai Chi or in the Tai Chi community, you know, whatever we focus on, forget about the Tai Chi community. Just as, I mean, you can look up some of these scientists now. They're starting to fall on track with this stuff. Wherever we focus on grows. And you can't tell me that that's not true, family. If we focus on negativity in our life, damn if it doesn't grow. If we focus on health, peace, relaxation, wholeness, it grows. I'm a living testament for that. My whole life is based around that, and the evidence is here. It's very clear. Whatever we focus on grows. So if you have any part of your body that's not in tune with wholeness or life, you just don't feel well, I'm going to give you a simple practice you can use. Very simple. Find yourself a nice, quiet place that you can sit down into, the quietest place as possible, no distractions. If you can get out in nature, even if it's just a local park, you don't have a forest here like I do. If you don't have that, go into a room and sit down. Make sure you're sitting up nice and straight, get into a nice posture. Have that Tai Chi pole nice and elongated. And this is very important. The breath. We talk about the breath and the connection with life force energy. Most people, family, are not breathing efficiently. If you're not breathing efficiently, you can forget about doing any Chi work. You can forget about that. So first things first, we got to get our breath right. When I say breath, I'm not talking about the way your breath smells or anything. Your breathing rhythm, your breathing pattern, the breathing mechanism. How are you breathing? Take one hand, put it on your chest. Take one hand, put it on your belly. It doesn't matter which one. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And then take a deep breath out of your nose. Now, I want you to continue doing that. I'm going to add more details. Simple practice. I didn't say easy, simple. As you breathe in deeply, in through your nose and out of your nose, I want you to make sure that the tip of your tongue, the very tip, place it at the roof of your mouth. The very roof of your mouth on your hard palate. Right behind your front two teeth. That's where your tongue is. Tongue placement. We're connecting the energy centers, family. We're connecting the meridian lines. Remember, This is Chinese medicine. It's internal practice, right? So placing that tongue, I say it's like plugging a plug into the socket for electricity, for the electric current to flow. So plug in the socket so the current can have the connection. The meridians, remember I talked about this circle? We got to have that tongue placed so we can connect the circuit. Now, if you're not able to breathe in through your nose, maybe you have a deviated septum. Maybe you're congested. Maybe you have nasal polyps. Don't stress it. Mouth breathe. But just know that mouth breathing is actually a natural response for fight or flight. And we want to be in the complete opposite of fight or flight. We want to go into our parasympathetic nervous system. We want to dive into that. We want to activate our parasympathetic nervous system. And by breathing through our nose, inhale and exhale, we're able to regulate the breath. Now, what do I mean by regulate the breath? We want to control the amount of air that's going in just as much as we want to control the amount of air that is going out. Now think about this. With our nostrils being so small, we may not be able to get as much air in as abruptly, as quickly. Remember, fight or flight, you can get a lot of air in real fast. Not necessarily the most efficient way. We want to come in through here. We can filter the air. We can regulate the temperature of the air. We can make it warmer or colder as it goes through our sinus passage, through our nasal pharynx. We also have the ability to produce nitric oxide. Not nitrous oxide, family. No, not nitrous oxide. Nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasal meaning vessel, like vessels, blood vessels. It's a vasodilator. So when you get your eyes dilated, the pupils open up, right? So when your vessels dilate, the vessels open up. All of the cardiovascular system opens up to include our heart as well as the alveoli inside of our lungs. So what does that mean to you, family? If we're opening up these passageways, bigger vessels, open heart, open lungs because the alveoli are open, that means more nutrition, more healing capacity because we're able to get in more oxygen. So we want to get away from that mouth breathing to the best of our ability, family. If not just because we want to filter that air through our nose. We got all that cilia and mucus tract lining is going to help us to filter out any microorganisms. So nostril breathing, back to the method. As you inhale, we want to also get away from, remember I said most people aren't breathing efficiently? They're breathing right here. Chest going, They breathe in, chest go, So what does that mean for the lower part of our lungs? By the way, we have 5 lobes of lungs, right? We should know a little bit about our anatomy because we have to use the yi to lead the chi. So we have to visualize, where is it going? Where's that air going when I breathe it in? Okay, I breathe it in through my nose. It goes in, it goes down into my lungs. I have 2 lobes on my left side. I have 3 on my right side. And if I'm only breathing here, I'm not breathing into the lower portion of my lungs. Making sense? Most people are not breathing into the lower portion of their lungs. So if you're not breathing into it, you're also not breathing out of it, full of contaminants. You're not expelling the contaminants. The settlement is going down there, and you're not expelling it, family. So you see how this simple practice, I didn't say easy, because to start breathing from here and not from here is going to take practice. For most people, it's going to take practice. This is what you want to happen, family. When you breathe in with a conscious effort over time, that belly is going to start filling up. It's going to fill up. Just like a newborn baby. Look at those newborn babies when they breathe. We want to start breathing like them. Inhale, fill up like a basketball. Exhale, deflate the basketball. Inhale, fill up the basketball. Exhale. Now, we're going to time out right here. We want to do this practice. It's called counting the breath, because this brings into mindfulness. Remember, we said the yi leads the chi. So if we just going haphazardly and not really being mindful, we're not getting the full benefit of the practice. Let's get the full benefit of the practice. Let's add counting the breath. Here it is. You're sitting in your peaceful place. You breathe in through your nose. You breathe out of your nose. You say in your mind, 1. You breathe in through your nose. You breathe out of your nose. You say in your mind, 2. Now, at some point, you may get lost in your count. We're wanting to count up to 10. If you get lost, don't try to figure out where you got lost or how you got lost. Simply start over again. Go back to 1. Now, we want to be disciplined enough that we don't continue to get lost. We have to pay attention. Mind is always busy. We want to get in tune and not follow all of those thoughts. Stay with following the breath. In and out. 3, in and out. 4, and then all of a sudden, I breathe in, I breathe out, and I say to myself, 13. And I'm like, damn, how did I get on 13? Don't try to figure it out. That means you simply stop paying attention at some point. You got distracted. Start over, because we're only going to 10. Start over. Set your clock. Do that for 2 minutes. Do that for 2 minutes. Don't go for 10 minutes. Don't go for 20 minutes. Start with 2 minutes. And then over time, go for 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And then over time, go to 3 minutes. And then contact Sifu Lester and tell him how it's working for you, or how it's not working for you. And then I can help you so that it can start working for you. So family, I hope that you took something useful from this. I know we kind of jumped around. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning. Trust me, I've been having technical difficulties all day today. But I said, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to see it through. We're going to get it done regardless. And once again, I thank you all for your continued support. Here's another message for you. I'm no longer on Facebook. I'm done with Facebook. There's a long story behind it. I don't care to share it because it's simply a waste of energy. Just know that you won't get me on Facebook, so that means you won't get me on Messenger. I'm not really active on any other social media. What I was doing before, I had my Facebook where it would automatically upload information onto Instagram. I don't really go on Instagram at all. I'm doing my best to immerse myself in the practice, and I look at not being on Facebook as being a good thing, but at the same time, not a good thing, because I miss so many of you all. But at the same time, I don't want to be involved in all of this extra stuff that's going on out in the world, things that don't really make sense to me at this time in my journey. At this time in my journey, my focus is to continue to make myself better so that I can practice and pass on the teachings to interested parties in its truest form. And I know that takes the dedication that my teacher gave. And I know he gave a lot more than I've given so far. And I just can't be distracted anymore. I don't want to lose touch with you all. So, how can we stay in touch? Some people here have joined the free Patreon. It's free. Can somebody type it in as I say it out? www.patreon.com. Then there's a / Tai Chi 360. You can certainly go on there and join as a free member, or you can join our daily classes. I have one class on there that takes place on Saturdays, $3 a month. You can join that. That way you can join the virtual classes, you can get feedback, you can meet other people. Remember, we're building community. There's only one Tai Chi, family. There's only one Tai Chi. Not my Tai Chi, not your Tai Chi, just Tai Chi. And we got to come back together so we can all do better. Anyway, family, happy to see you all. Brother David, you finally made it in? I thought you had something to do, man. You said you're going to be doing your family thing. Glad you made it in. Sister Pam, thank you for coming. Brother Ken, thank you as well. Hey, we had a nice little show. Sister Sherry showed up. Sister Tracy, thank you. Wonderful to hear your shares, knowledge, and wisdom. You know, I'm always happy to share. I'm always happy to share. So Sister Tracy actually started training Tai Chi with me online back when I was teaching every day during the pandemic. Remember? Every day, every single day. And it was for free, just giving back to the community. And man, got some long-term friends out of it. That's all I'm looking for, family, community. Sister Ella, good to see you. Looking forward to our interview. I hope you got something out of it today. And we'll pick up where we left off on next Sunday at the same bat time, same bat place. Talk to you soon. Tai Chi and tea, right back at you. Your Seafood Lester. Checking in and checking out. Right back at you.